This is Mr. King with Math Recalculated. Today we are going to start our introduction to fractions. They're not that scary, I promise. And what we're going to cover today is the numerator, which is on top, and the denominator on the bottom. We're going to model some fractions, and we're going to then take an object, have parts of it, and how to write a fraction from that. So let's get going. How you write a fraction. A fraction is written as a over b, where b cannot equal 0. We'll get to the b not equaling 0 in just a second. First, let's talk about the a over the b. So you have a over b. And I'm going to use different colors because I want you to be able to kind of see this out, let it play out. It's going to be fine. So the a, the top, that is referred to as the numerator. So the numerator is on top of the fraction every time. The bottom then is referred to as the denominator. So the denominator is on the bottom of the fraction. Why b cannot equal 0 is because a fraction is a part of a whole. So a whole being an entire object, whether it's a circle, square, rectangle, triangle, anything. A whole is an object. Well, when you look at it, you can't have a part of nothing, and 0 represents nothing. So when we get to that situation where in the denominator that b is 0, it's undefined because simply you can't take a part of something that isn't there. So when we get to this situation right here, where the b is 0, we call that undefined, because there is no parts to be able to take place from. And that's our fraction. So we have the numerator thus far on top, denominator on the bottom. And the denominator cannot equal 0 because you can't take a part of an object that doesn't exist. You can't take a part 0. Let's move on to modeling fractions. What do they represent? How do they look? So we first look, our first example is 3/4. Now we could, again, like I said, it could be any shape. I'm going to use a circle right now because I got pizza on the mind. I'm getting kind of hungry. When I take this circle, what this fraction is going to tell us is two things. The numerator is going to tell us something, and the denominator is going to tell us something. What the denominator is going to tell us is how many slices, if this is a pizza, or how many parts we're going to break this into. The denominator is 4. We're going to take this circle and then break it into 4 parts. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our 4 parts. That's what the denominator is going to tell us. What the numerator is going to tell us then is how many of these parts we shade in. So if we look at the numerator is then 3. So we're going to shade in 3 parts of our circle. And that is how you represent a fraction of 3/4 in terms of a circle. It could be any shape. We're using circles right now. 2/3. Let's try it again. I'm going to create another circle. I'm going to hopefully break this into even parts. Again, they're even though if they don't look like it, they are. Trust me. So 2/3. We look at this again. We have our denominator. 3. So we broke it into thirds. So we break this into 1, 2, 3 pieces. Now our numerator then tells us how many of them to shade. Numerator is 2, so I have to shade 1, 2. Could be any 2. Doesn't have to follow the order that I wrote them in. Finally, 1/5. Again, I told you it doesn't have to be a circle, so let's do one that's not a circle. We have our rectangle now. And our denominator says to break this rectangle into 5 even pieces. Again, they might not look even, but they're even, trust me. So let's break this into 5 even pieces. Close enough. Now we look at the numerator. The numerator is going to tell us how many to shade in. Our numerator is 1. So in this case, we fill in one of them. We now have a fraction of 1/5 represented or modeled with a rectangle. 1 out of the 5 are filled in. And I forgot to write this down. My apologies. As we can see, we have 5 pieces, and one of them is shaded. And that's how you model a fraction. Again, it could be any shape. Now, writing a fraction, let's say we have, let's go with, say you're given a circle that looks like this. Well, we have to then write a fraction from what we see. So we have a circle and we have some shades. How do we write that as a fraction? We can go with the numerator this time. Let's start with the numerator. How do we find the numerator? Well, the numerator is how many pieces are shaded. So we look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 parts that are shaded in. So 5 goes on top. Now we look, what's our denominator? Well, the denominator is how many total that whole is broken into. So we look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the denominator is broken into 8 pieces. So what this circle, shaded circle represents is 5/8 of a circle, because 5 of those parts are shaded and then 8 are totally broke into. So we get to our last example. Again, it's a rectangle. First thing, let's shade these in and give you something to work with. Let's go with something like that. Now we have to write this as a fraction. How do we write this as a fraction? Well, we count the shades. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 shaded parts. That's our numerator. Thing's going cattywampus on me. And now we look, and how many are then, how much is that rectangle broken into? How many total parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's broken into 6 sections. So that is then our denominator. So the 5/6, that fraction represents, we have our model here of 5 shaded in a rectangle broken into 6 parts. How do we write that mathematically? We write it as a fraction of 5/6. I hope this helped. Keep watching. We're going to then get into more in depth with fractions. It's going to be a great time, I promise. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you out, please like and subscribe. Keep a lookout for more math recalculated videos. Take care.